So today we're going to be talking about measures of central tendency, a 5-number summary, the IQR or interquartile range, and box and whisker plots. I know it sounds like not a lot, but bear with me. All right, so the first one, we're going to look at our measures of central tendency, which is a number that is used to represent a typical number in a data set. It's either going to be the mean, the median, or the mode. You use one, you don't use all of them. So the mean is simply the average of all numbers. We'll talk about how to find that later in the lesson. The median is the number, the number in the middle of the set. And the mode is simply the number or the value that appears the most. Our range is the difference between the largest and smallest value. And we'll look at finding all of these right now. So let's find the mean or the average. So the mean, step 1, is to add all the numbers. And step 2 is divide by the amount of numbers. So let's go ahead and let's do that. Let me pull up my calculator. All right, so we're going to take 80 plus 75 plus 95 plus 62 plus 100. So the sum, we go back to this, the sum, so that's step 1, equals 100, or sorry, not 100, 412. 412. And step 2 is to divide by the amount of numbers. So we're going to take 412 and we're going to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. And that'll be our mean. So we're going to take 412 divided by 5. We get 82.4. And this one we don't have to round because it's a nice number, 0.4. So we just get 82.4. That's how we find the mean. Let's find the median. So we need to arrange the numbers from least to greatest, and then find the number in the middle. Okay, if there are 2 middles, add them and divide by 2. So let's look. That's how do we find the number in the middle? So I'm going to start. 18 and 59 are at the ends. Oops. And then we got 27 and 41 next. And that means that 35 is in the middle. So this means that the median equals 35. All right, let's talk about the mode. The mode is the number. So we're going to find, we need to arrange the numbers from least to greatest. Find the number or value that appears the most. Okay, there can be more than one mode or none. So let's take a look. 10, 10, and 10. So 10 appears the most. So our mode equals 10. Now let's find our range. We're going to identify the smallest and the largest value. Then it's the maximum minus the minimum. So in this nicely ordered set, our minimum is 100, our minimum is 1, and our maximum is 100. So we're going to do max minus min. So our max is 100 minus our minimum of 1. So that means our range is 99. All right, let's take a look at how we can influence the mean and the median. All right, there are two things that we can do. We can either make the mean bigger or we can make the mean smaller. There are two ways to make the mean bigger. First is you add or insert a number larger than the current mean, or you remove a number smaller than the mean. Both of those will make the mean bigger. How do you make the mean smaller? Well, you remove a number larger than the mean, or you add a number smaller than the mean. All right, let's take a look at making the median bigger. Again, you can add a number, and that will make the median larger, or you can remove a number smaller than the median, and that'll make the median larger as well. And vice versa, to make it smaller, you remove a number larger than the median, or you add a number smaller than the median. All right, next we are going to look at a box and a whisker plot. So a box and a whisker plot is a data display that divides a set of data into 4 parts. The median, or second quartile, separates the set into 2 halves. The first, or lower quartile, is the median of the lower half, and the third, or upper quartile, is the median of the upper half. So let's take a look at the first half. We can also call this Q1 for the quartile 1, or for the first quartile, or this last one is Q3, or quartile 3. So let's look at our steps. Step 1, we need to write the numbers in ascending or increasing order from smallest all the way to the largest. We're going to find the 5-number summary. What is the 5-number summary? Well, that's pretty easy. That is the min, quartile 1, the median, or quartile 2. Let me erase that 3. Looks like a 3, but it should be a 2. All right, and then quartile 3. And then the max, a 5-number summary. Then we're going to draw a number line that includes the min and the max. We're going to plot our minimum, our lower quartile, our median, our upper quartile, and our max. And then we're going to draw a box from Q1 to Q3, and our whiskers are going to be our min and our max. Okay, so that is what we do for that. So you guys are going to complete that part using Canvas, both Canvas 2 and Canvas 4. So let's take a look and move on to our next section, which we are going to be putting all of these to work. We're just going to practice finding them, even though in practice we don't really do all of them. So our first example is we have the hits in the round of hacky sack. Okay, so then we're going to answer these questions over here. So our mean. So we're going to add all of these numbers up and divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we're going to add them up and divide by 7. So let's do that. Okay, so let's take 10 plus 3 plus 15 plus 6 plus 6 plus 8 plus 13. We get 61. There are 7 numbers, so we're going to divide by 7. So our average is 8.714. We're going to round that to 8.7. We'll do 8.71. Our median, so we need to order these from least to greatest, from smallest to largest. So our smallest is 3, and then we have 2 6s, and then we have an 8, a 10, and then a 13. So we find the number in the middle. So at the end, then 6 inside. So we have 2 numbers in the middle. So up there, we're going to add that together. 6 plus 8 equals 14. And then we're going to divide by 2, which is 7. So now our median is 7. Our mode, let's take a look at our numbers again. We have 2 6s, so our mode is 6. Our range is the max minus the min. So our max is 13, our min is 3, so that means our range equals 10. Now let's answer these questions. What will happen to the mean if the next round of hacky sack had 3 hits? The mean will, let's see, if I add in a 3, 3 is smaller than my mean, so we are going to decrease because 3 is smaller than the mean. What will happen to the median if the next round of hacky sack had 9 hits? Okay, so let's take a look and let's just do a thought. Let's write out all of these numbers: 3, 6, 6, 8, 10, 13, and 15. And let's put in, so right now the median is 8. But the next round, that's going to have 9. So that's going to be right there. So now what happens to the median? So 3, 6, 6, 8 is now above, and 9, 10, 13, 15. So we got to add the 2 numbers in the middle and divide by 2. So 8 plus 9 is 17. Divided by 2 is 8.5. So the old mean was 8, and it is now 8.5. So that means the median will increase because 9 is larger than the median. Now let's take a look at example 2. We are going to draw a box and a whisker. So we have our data set. They were nice enough and they put it in order for us already. So let's start filling out our 5-number summary. Let's go to our min. It is 5. Let's go to our max. It is 34. All right, now let's start finding the number in the middle. So we're going to take a look. We're going to go through and count them out so that we can easily identify the number in the middle. See how I'm coloring? All right, so it looks like 12 is the number in the middle. Let's double check that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on either side. So our median is 12. Okay, now let's find our median of the lower part. So we're going to count these. So middle, middle. Let's start crossing things off. All right, looks like 9 and 11 are in the middle. So 9 plus 11 is 20, divided by 2 is 10. So our quartile 1 is 10. Let's find the upper. Cross them off until we get there. 19 and 25, so that is 44 if we add those 2 together. And then divide by 2, and we get 22. That is our quartile 3. Now, the mode in our problem, which one appears the most? Let's see, it looks, just by looking at it, that 11 is our mode. So now let's do our box and a whisker. So our min is 5 and our max is 34. So let's just start at 5 and then let's increase by 5s. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and let's go to 35. All right, so let us now plot our 5-number summary. Our min is at 5, so I'm doing it above the line. And our max is 34, so it's going to be a little bit before 35. And then our quartile, our median, is at 12. So that is right here in between 10 and 15 about. All right, then we have our quartile 1 at 10, and our quartile 3 is at 22, so that's just in between 22 and 25. Now we're going to draw our box. Okay, I'm going to draw a box like this, and then all the way over to there, and then draw a line in between our median, and then whiskers out to our min and our max. And there I have a box and a whisker. Notice that my number line is scaled. It's simply not just these numbers, okay, but it is counts incrementally up till we include all of our numbers. So this is a number line that is scaled. So I'm counting by fives here. I'm not just putting these numbers down here, okay, and drawing a box and whisker. That's not how it works. All right, and we're going to use this data to construct a box and whisker. But first, we need to sort our numbers. So starting with the lowest, which looks to be 42. After 42, I'm going to cross it off in this list just to keep things organized, is 76, and then 79, and then 85, and then 88, and then 95, 98, and 2 100s. Okay, so we're going to find our min, which is 42, our max, which is 100, and then we're going to find our minimum and our maximum. So we have 76. So let's see, the number in the middle, I'm sorry, we're going to find our median now. The number in the middle is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 88. All right. So then we're going to count the bottom two. So the middle is between 76 and 79. So I'm going to add 76 plus 79, and I get 155 divided by 2. Let me use my calculator for that. 155 divided by 2, 77.5. So we get 77.5, and that is our quartile 1. Okay, let's go above. So in between 98 and 100. So if you didn't know what number is in between 98 and 100, so if I add 100 plus 98, well, that's 198 divided by 2, well, that's 99. So that is our upper quartile. Next, we are going to make a scale. 42 is not an even number, so let's start with 40, and let's just count up. Make these about as even as you possibly can. Let's count by 5. So 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. Actually, let's start over. Let's make these a little bit more. Let's make that scale smaller. So I'm going to start here. We're going to just make these small so we can get all of our values in there. So we're going to go by 5. So 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90. Still not small enough. All right, let's go and let's do this smaller. There we go. So 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, and 100. So 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, and 100. And now let's put in our min, which is 40. So that's just our 42. So it's above 40. Our max is exactly at 100. So there we go. 77.5. Well, that's just a little bit above 75. Okay. And then 88 is in between 85 and 90. And 99 is just below 100. So there we go. We're going to draw our box around these 3 points in the middle, a line through the median, and then we draw our whiskers. And there we go. All right, so this is Daniel up here. So these are the scores that he made. So now let's take a look. So according to the box plot, 75% of the games Daniel scored equal to or less than how many points? So 75% equal to or less than. So you got to remember that this is 25, this is 25, oops, and this is 25. So that is this number right there. Okay, so 75% of his games, he scored 22 or less points. Okay, what percentage of the data is represented by the box and whisker on the right side of the box plot? So the right side is 25%. Okay, and then we're going to answer these questions. What score did 50% of the students score equal to or less than? So that's this number in the middle. So let's label this 25, 25, 25, and this little line is 25. So 50% is less, so that is this number right there. So 50% scored less than 88%. What percentage of the test scores is represented by the box? Well, here's the box. Okay, it is this value. It is both of these right there. So in the box is 50%. All right. Now let's take a look at the interquartile range. So the interquartile range is simply the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So our upper quartile is 22. Our lower quartile is 10. So Q3 minus Q1 is 22 minus 10. So our interquartile range is 12. There we go. Anything above, so if we go to the median, 14, and we subtract 12 from here, so that's 2. So if I do 14 minus 12, that's 2. Anything less than 2 are outliers. Okay, and then if I do 14 plus 12, that's 26. Anything greater than 26 is an outlier. So that means 34 is an outlier.